Yo, what's up, guys? YouTube Josh Aquai here. Until we find a better name, of course, we're still going through that process. But today, Izzy found us a video. You want to go and bring that up real quick?
Yeah, bro. So basically, the video that's happening now, this is something that I'm pretty sure only happened a few days ago. It might have actually even happened a little bit further back. But basically, it is basically a kid who ends up, he basically beats a teacher like unconscious. So there was some statements saying things like he had autism, things like that he was like the teacher's aide. But generally, there's a little bit of things going back and forth. Some people saying like, oh, it's, he should, go to jail and all this other stuff. And other people saying like, oh, well, he's, he has autism. Maybe he should be okay.
Maybe he's not in his right mind.
Yeah, he's not really sensibly, there fully. But either way, I think when people see the video, it's hard to say either or, depending on what you think. But yeah, I think it's better just to see it and get your opinion off of it. So.
The Flagler County teacher's aide who was brutally attacked at Matanzas High School is now speaking out. On her GoFundMe page, the aide, her name is Joan Nadich, says that she never took the student's Nintendo Switch away from him, adding that is misinformation. Investigators say the 17-year-old told them that he lost his temper after the aide took away his Nintendo Switch. Joan went on to say that she is overwhelmed with the kindness from strangers as she continues to recover. The Flagler County Sheriff's Office says the 17-year-old will be charged as an adult.
Okay, that was way more intense than I thought it would be. Yeah, we'll try to put the actual video in the. We'll try to tell you where to find it.
Yeah, we can post we'll show the YouTube video, but then we can kind of send back if they want to actually watch the full one. We can put the link in there.
Yeah, because the actual video is kind of nuts. Like when I saw the little, we saw the little news video. I was like, oh, he punched her once or whatever, and I was like, okay, that sucks. That's terrible. But no, the actual video, he ran up, he punched her, right? She hit the floor. He got down, started hitting her on her sides. She looked unconscious already. Mm-hmm. He starts hitting her on the sides, and then he rolls up and starts hitting her in the back of the head. Probably a good 4 times.
I don't know if it was fully the back of the head or if it was like the back and the back. It looked like
it went to the back of the head. I saw that at the end, and that's when it got more deadly. When he was hitting her in the sides, realistically, you'll probably be okay. I mean, maybe broken ribs, stuff like that, but you'll probably be all right. When you start hitting her in the back of the head while she's already unconscious, I think at that point you're moving towards brain damage and things like that. Normally, even in fighting, like when you hit people even when we're doing train fights, you're not supposed to hit people in the back of the head because of how much damage you can cause so quickly. It's like that whole trope when you watch like spy movies and you hit them in the back of the head with something, like break a plate on their head and they go out.
But even worse, think about it. He was 6'6".
6'6", 270. He's a big.
That boy
big
NFL bound.
Now, realistically, if you watch him run, he's definitely not NFL bound.
Definitely not.
And the way they pulled him off, you could see at the end. At first it was crazy. So when she first got knocked out, one lady kept walking. That was the craziest shit.
That big lady kind of walked straight. She looked back. She said,
"I didn't like that bitch anyway."
She said, "It's 6 period. I gotta go."
Yeah, bro, that was crazy. But realistically, like. Sometimes it's like, what do you gotta, yeah, I can't blame that. It's not really what we're trying to do. It's more along the lines of like, he's a big kid, and one of the things that was thrown around is that he might be autistic, so they're trying to figure out whether or not they want to, like, well, it seems like the teacher wants to press full charges, right?
Yeah,
is that what I read earlier?
It's like 30 years.
30-year sentence.
Censoring him. Putting him for 30 years. But they're trying to say since he has autism to kind of like, hey, give him some leniency. And I think she's saying like, nah.
Yeah, she could have died realistically.
Nah.
She could have died. I feel like I feel like honestly there's things you can do. I see where she's coming from. I'm not really mad at her. Not trying to blow her up for anything.
Yeah.
And I always like, there's always this weird gray line where people are trying to figure out when it comes to mental health. When is it their fault and when is it, the person's responsibility to take care of that shit? Mm-hmm. When it comes to mental health, I think there's a level of responsibility that you have to take as an adult a lot of times. But realistically, this kid is, in my current opinion, this kid is 17. He's not an adult. He's big, but if he's as far along on the spectrum as it seemed, at one point they pulled him off and he was kicking like with his heel, like reaching for it. It was like the most childish looking thing. if realistically because it seemed like the way he was moving and everything, it seemed like someone who wasn't into sports or anything like that. Like he probably I could see him being autistic. I'm sure we could just look into that and find out.
Well, it did say he was a teacher's aide, so there's a big chance he probably was or is autistic. But I mean,
we'll go with he is. Yeah. If he is autistic, I feel like 30 years for a kid who probably wasn't 100%. What's the best word? Cognizant of what he was doing. Like his brain is not thinking of all the repercussions or controlling his anger. Autism is something I'd implore you to look up yourself to really figure it out and understand it. I'm not gonna try to like explain it all right here in so many words, but it's one of those things where it's like him not fully understanding how to engage with the situation seems down the line of autism sometimes. It sucks that it played out this way. That might be so. Again, it might always go back to some family stuff. It might be like maybe he's not getting the care he possibly really needs, or maybe he, there's a litany of reasons. I'm not gonna make excuses for that. What I would say is that I would hate to see this kid go to jail for 30 years for something he did when he was 17, when he lost his temper.
Yeah, I would say 30 years seems outrageous. That's like, I think some people kill people and get like 30 years sometimes. Yeah. People do some actual like real serious. I mean, I understand she could have died. So for her, she may be like, yo,
yeah,
ain't no way.
She was to press charges, of course.
Yeah. But there's also to the point of, I understand the purpose of jail is the two functions of rehabilitation plus punishment for the crime. Punishment for the crime, I understand that, but I don't know what type of rehabilitation it can actually be if it's more of like a mental thing that maybe, like you said, if he's not getting the help, and a lot of people nowadays, adults and young children who have autism never got the help or aren't getting the help, and on different ranges of the spectrum. So this kid seems to not be getting the help maybe at home, or maybe he might be that far on the spectrum that it's just something that it hit and he just took off.
Which realistically, if he's that dangerous, there has to be a reform, right? You can't just let him go back to the sea.
You can't,
right? That's dangerous for other kids. That being said, I don't think he's gonna get better being in jail with 30 men or for 30 years with men who are
just as aggressive, if not
possibly,
worse.
yeah, more likely to be more aggressive, if not worse. It's like he's not gonna get a better influence in there. It's not gonna get much better.
Like what's gonna happen when he comes out after 30 years?
Yeah, what are we doing realistically? Are we just punishing this kid, or are we trying to get him better so he can like fit into society?
I mean, but he should go into like a mental.
Yeah,
that should be that. I mean, I feel like that would be like, if anyone should go there, it should be someone like this who can actually get the help. I don't know the type of help at these mental facilities.
Right.
Don't know all that, but he should basically be one of those people who should be like, yes, he's mentally this way. He should go in to get the help he needs, and then maybe like I still wouldn't say no 30. I think 30 is outrageous.
Yeah, I think that's our consensus. I think 30 sounds a little extreme because at one point are you just punishing him for he's still, again, he's not even an adult yet. He's built like he's kind of built like a.
I think by the time trial hits, I think he'll be 18.
I see what you're saying.
So I think that they might try him as 18.
I don't see that doing anything for him. I feel like what you're going to have is a kid who had violent tendencies before, go into jail for 30 years and come out with more violent tendencies. That doesn't seem to make anything better at all. Now you just lost a person you lost a person's whole life, potentially. A person who is 17, made a mistake, comes out at 47, probably going to make that same mistake again because he never learned how to figure stuff out. Now you just lost a whole life for something that could have been like, hey, we can invest in this person and fix it.
But that's also another,
that's where I'm at.
That's also another. I mean, that's like a whole nother thing if we start talking about mental health within the community, and like how people with mental health, when they go to like jail or they commit something, and it's like once you find out they actually have that issue, a lot of them currently, I'm pretty sure a lot of them just go into jail anyway. And I don't think currently I don't think we have a good system that kind of works with them.
I'm sure if I checked right now, I'm sure that I would see that a lot of people in jail, not most, but a lot of people in jail do have mental problems.
Yeah.
And they're just not diagnosed.
Yep.
For instance, I've said this before. I was talking to Izzy about this right before we started, but it was like there's people you have to understand, we didn't know autism even existed in girls until like the 80s, I believe. I think it was the 80s when we started diagnosing women with autism. Before that, I think it was World War II, post World War II, we started getting autism diagnoses in the first place. We didn't even call it that. There's all this other stuff. So it's like there's adults who are in autism or in jail who are just not. They're not actually socially like violent people, but they don't have their emotions or they're not emotionally developed enough to understand themselves and they made mistakes. That happens all the time. It's almost a joke in movies. Like that one guy who's like, "Oh, don't mess with Big Earl."
It's
Big Earl's like
big
this
dude who's
real nice, but he's real awkward and he might kill you.
Yeah,
type stuff.
It's
So
a classic trope.
Exactly. So it's like, I don't know. I don't feel like this is the right way to go. But give us your opinions. Go in the comments. Tell us how you feel about all this. We're gonna have Izzy's information, Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff.
Discord. It'll all be there. Click the links. Join in. Join the group. Get the sauce.
Get some sauce.
Get some sauce, man.
Nah, but we'll be around. So y'all have a good one. Peace.